It is evening time, and I don't know how many of you are still up, but I am so happy to have this final live interview with two of the board members of the project. Oh, have mercy. This is what I do, guys. I screw the names of stuff up. Project Alloy, and I am a grantee, and there were over 100. You've been hearing about this. There were over 120 other grantees, and I want these two individuals because people always talk about, oh, we can't do diversity, it's hard, we blah blah blah. Shut up and do it. So I want these two individuals to talk about why they do this and why they've done it. And they're not going to tell you it's easy, because it's not. It's hard work, but to them it was worth it. So introduce yourselves.
So I'm Ian Smith. I'm a bi-disabled software engineer in San Francisco. And like you said, I'm one of the co-founders and board members of Project Alloy.
My name is Brooke Jarrett. I am a PhD candidate at the Johns Hopkins University in infectious disease epidemiology. And I am a queer femme biracial technologist, I guess I would say. And I'm one of the board members of Project Alloy.
So tell me, you two, on this last day after you've taken your long nap and got a little bit more refreshed,
Oh, yeah.
Tell me why this project?
So I think we look around at the industry, right? And we say there's a lot of interest in doing something about who's represented in the industry and how the industry reflects or doesn't reflect the world around us, the communities that we live in. And, you know, for me, to some extent, it feels like I've been in this field for about 5 years, 6 years, and I've made it in some sense. I have a career, I have a resume. I'm not terribly concerned about where my next job is coming from. I can make it to conferences either on my dime or on my employer's dime. And I want to sort of look back and say, well, can I make that happen for other people? Can I help other people get past that first hurdle of, your first entry into the industry? And we see tech conferences as one place that happens, where people learn about the industry and learn about what's going on and network, and there's a whole lot of value to coming. But it can be hard to get here, so what can we do to make that easier?
Yeah, I think lowering the barriers is terminology that we use a lot in our work together. And for me, at least, I was working among technical people and doing sort of project managing and working to do recruiting for an organization. And I found that I was recruiting a lot of diversity, not retaining a lot of diversity.
Yes.
And I eventually ended up leaving that organization, and I've heard really great things about the direction that they've gone, but it wasn't fast enough for me personally. And what ended up happening, the reason why we started this, was that there was an individual who was just saying to anyone that contacted them, I'll pay for you to go to a conference. I think it's important. I have the funds. I'm going to bankroll you. And that inspired our co-founder, Star, to write a post on Medium to say, we should make this an organization. There are plenty of people who have the money. There are plenty of organizations who have the money, and there's plenty of this emotion that something should be done. Okay, so let's put something together and let's do something. Let's just do the thing, because we all have the capacity to make that happen. It's not special, it's not a skill, it takes time and it takes learning, but you can start doing that, and as you learn and grow, it's a possibility.
I think we saw Kyle's post and said, this is really cool.
Right.
He's making this happen out of his own pocket. And I talked to a number of friends after seeing Star's post, and a bunch of us said, this is cool. I certainly have, some disposable income that I put towards this, but I don't know that I have the motivation or the time to do the legwork to find people and do the outreach and make it happen. And so one of the things that Star and I talked about in our very first sit down about this was, it'd be really cool if we sort of set up a structure for it. So as as somebody who says, yeah, I have the disposable income to support this, great, here's an easy way to do it without having to take on the burden of, now I have to, communicate with people and organize and filter, who contacts me, because there's already an organization doing that for me.
It speaks so much to, okay, so I tell other people all the time, I have the title of community engineer. So I didn't get that title. I was at, an Alex conference. I was at Close Your West.
Cool.
And one of the attendees, based on my speaking topic, I was doing a panel, and I also did a working session on how to get more people into tech, and particularly closure. And they were like, Kim, we're engineers and you're a community engineer. And so again, I'm a researcher like yourself, so I love words. So I was like, okay, let me figure out what this means, because they said it, but it sounds good. Let me figure out what it means. And so this speaks to exactly what you just said. So for me, community is that heart stuff, the HEART, the values, the mission, the people that drives people to do stuff. But what happens is they don't know how to operationalize it, and that's the engineering part. Yeah. So I love that you've taken something that people felt was valuable, that was needed, and put a structure around it, put processes in place, put policies in place. And that's how businesses are run. That's how you take a mission and you operationalize it and make it successful, that it is sustainable over a long time.
Well, and that word sustainable.
Yes.
Because if you have everybody doing this individually, suddenly at some point there's going to be burnout. There's going to be, I can't do it this year. I don't have time. Whatever's happening in my life. But if you put that structure around it, you give it a bit more sustainability. You give it, you can take that momentum that people put into it and keep it going.
Yeah,
that's sort of where we're headed.
Yeah, and that's the whole business thing, and that's why I have this community engineering report. Is not about your politics. It's not about your morals. It's about business. It's about economics of having inclusion and diversity in tech and safe spaces in tech. Because when you have those, there's a financial payout. And once people can benefit, then there are other people who can say, hey, I can sponsor some other people. And that's the whole thing. You create better products and services when you have more people at the table from different perspectives. And so when I started doing this a few days ago, I think it was Star asked me, so what made you think, baby? I got up that morning and was like, this is a good idea. And it fit with what I do with my podcast. Yeah. And I was like, let me just try this out. And actually, I think I'm going to do this every conference I go to.
Great.
Yeah, because I want to start having conversations, because my whole podcast is about, let's start having the difficult conversations that need to be had around inclusion and diversity. Because people are afraid to have them. Once they get normalized, we can have these conversations. And so I really appreciate what you guys have done. And I love that you're talking about putting processes in place around a mission, because that's where people get derailed. That's where, I guess, as you said, the sustainability, people get burned out, because what you have is one group doing the same thing and another group's doing the same thing. Nobody has processes in place, so every time they do it, they have to start from scratch.
Yeah. Well, and we're starting from scratch. So this is our first conference.
Yes.
Right? And one of the things that Brooke and Star and I have been talking about during the conference, and then just today at our recap, is, so what do we want to do differently next time? Mm-hmm. What do we need to work on? Mm-hmm. And again, when you have a structure in place, when you have an organization in place, you can have those conversations.
Exactly.
And you can build on what you did previously.
And not start all over every single time.
We're so lucky to have Strange Loop offer us a structure into which we can build
yes.
and improve.
Yeah.
They already had such a wonderful opportunity grant program before we came in.
Yep.
And so we were able to look at that, and what was nice is you come from an outside perspective, you're able to tweak in
yes.
a way that is, you're not up close and personal with it yet. So we had that opportunity to sit there and say, okay, how do we do this slightly better? How do we make it scale for later?
Yes.
How do we make it scale in a way where we can take it to a conference that doesn't do what Strange Loop does?
Exactly, and just come in from scratch.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
and have a process in place already, so that people, because you and I were talking when we were waiting for Ian, I get so tired, and so many people are tired of the whole, I couldn't find anybody, like for panels. I couldn't find any people from different backgrounds. I would love to do diversity tickets, but I don't know how. Well, right here, you have a whole project in place who are looking, who, if you can't work directly with them, follow what they do. Yep. Follow what you guys do.
And we've been talking to a number of conferences already that have said, hey, we have some budget here, we'd love to use it for this, or we have interest in providing grants and supporting folks within our conference community. But we haven't done it yet because we have limited time, we have limited people, we have and we'd have to figure it out from scratch.
Yes.
And so we're seeing this as the opportunity to step into, to say, let's partner with you. You have resources, we have resources. Let's bring it together, and we can
Make it
replicate
happen.
sort of the strength
Exactly.
model at other conferences.
Exactly. And that makes sense. I mean, we're in tech. It makes sense. It's like you create the function and you recall the function every time you use it. You know, it's like, this is what this is. It's
You
like,
publish it, you make it open source, other people add to it, other people
yes.
use it. It's, yeah.
I mean, that's what we do. It's just like, that's the culture of it. So I don't get why people make this sound so, well, first of all,
Well, people are not used to thinking about technology outside of the context of, your hardware and your software.
and this is a,
Communities are technology.
and that's what we were talking about before you even got here. We were talking about how not only community is the thing that your projects is the foundation of your projects or service or product. And without a good community, be it open source or culture at your organizations or whatever, things fall apart. They may not fall apart today. They may not fall apart tomorrow, but at some point, something's going to explode, and you're not going to know why, because you didn't put the resources in to do community. And people think, so I'm this community engineer. Everybody wants Kim to come places, but no one has a budget. It's like, no, I do this. This is my job. I'm not doing this for free. And it shouldn't be done as other duty as assigned for somebody else. So everybody's looking for volunteers, but there's a unique skill set to doing this. So tell us what skills that you have or had to develop to make this a success.
I would say a mixture of three things that uniquely maybe Star, Ian, and I bring together, which is Star is a wonderful fundraiser connector networker, and she's really able to get our name out there where it matters and is really able to help us just be together. I would say Ian really brings a wonderful level-headedness and technical skill set in making sure that what needs to be automated gets automated and making sure that we have the right tools to do the job that we need to do. And I would say I bring a level of operations and being able to, I don't know, it's hard to say. It's hard to self-reflect.
Well, I mean, it's a project. So from what I've heard you say before, you bring project management skills.
Timeline.
Yeah.
A lot of timeline and tasks.
Exactly. And that's
what
one of the things when I'm telling people about when I'm introducing them to tech. Everybody doesn't have to be a developer.
No.
There are so many other technical jobs we need. There are so many non-technical people who need to understand computational thinking. There are projects that need to be managed. There's budgets that need to be managed. There's so many other skills that need to happen in tech that help developers or whatever create products and services that we need. So what was the most challenging, let's be totally candid, what was the most challenging thing about this for you guys?
I think that again, because we're doing this for the first time, we're figuring out sort of on the fly. So we had a whole bunch of stuff that was figured out as we went. We talked about, we were managing email communications with 120 people and coordinating logistics with 120 people. Thank goodness for our travel agent. But doing that without having previously set up tools to deal with that was we knew we needed to do it. We didn't get it done in time, so we did it by hand. And it worked, but
I mean,
barely.
I don't have as many as you do, and trying to make folders for different things so you can keep stuff. And everybody has a different requirement.
And then we saw a whole bunch of things happen that we didn't expect that actually went well. So, for example, there was it yesterday we did
Yesterday was the lunch
for grantees and sponsors, and we had initially not planned on doing that.
Oh, that was a good idea.
No, that literally came out of the blue.
See, I love the out of the blue things.
And it came from grantees. Grantees said, "Is there going to be an opportunity to meet some of the sponsors and network?"
Wow.
Yeah, they made a Slack channel.
Yeah.
And so we sort of went back and forth and said, "I don't know, we're organizing a whole bunch for the weekend already. We got a whole bunch on our plates." And we decided to do it anyway, and it was
amazing.
It was way more popular than we expected.
So much
The room was packed.
It was standing room only. I tried to scope it out. I was like, no, this is not part of our scope. We've already decided I can't handle any more things any more people to email, any more emails to impose. We're not doing this. And they're like, just do it like minimally, no stress, like it'll be fine. No, I'm telling you, hang on, I want to tell the Uber story. So I don't endorse Uber, but I needed to get a place, and it's the only thing that's downloaded on my phone, and we were under a time crunch. So in order to make this event happen, what we ended up doing was, I'm bringing you behind the counter here.
Yes.
This is how the sausage gets
Yes,
made,
that's
okay?
what I want to know.
Okay, good. So, you know, they said, don't put any upfront effort into it. Just send the email, get the room booked, worry about everything else later. Just get to the venue. Like, when you get to Strange Loop, you focus on Strange Loop. So we get here, we go to the registration table, then it's, 10 a.m. by the time we get over this side, and we're like, okay, we have to go get snacks. So Ian's prepping the room, and I go to get snacks. So I Uber over to Walgreens, because the closest one within walking distance has been shut down. So it's about 2 miles away. I get all of our snacks, I get our water, I do the thing, and then I look at my phone and I don't get reception. So I have Virgin Mobile, and it like just 2 miles away from the city, and I wasn't getting, like, that's how bad their network is. And so I call I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I just started walking with 24 bottles of water and all of the snacks, and I have it on my back, and I'm just going
my
down the
God.
street. And so then I ended up in a grocery store, and I was like, do you have Wi-Fi? And they had Wi-Fi. So I called the Uber, and then I'm inside, and I see the Uber, and that moment where it slows down, everything slows down, and the Uber just drives by, and I'm trying to get out the entrance, and I'm like, no! And because I had to be inside the store, because that's where the Wi-Fi was at. So I had to run all the way around and then out the exit, and they'd gone, Uber canceled. So then I had to go back in the store. I reordered another Uber. It was actually the same person. And they accepted.
They just went away.
And I just went outside, and I stood with my hands up on a picnic table going, I'm here! I'm here! And I got back just in time for the lunch to happen.
And I never would have known that.
And then it ended up being like we planned for 30 odd people and set up the room that way. And Brooke had to go find more chairs.
Yes,
because people kept coming in.
Yeah.
And we just didn't anticipate that.
And I think that's being built into, we're thinking about that. We're thinking about, okay, there's a demand for this after we've set up this part of bringing people here. Is that a way, is that a road towards financial sustainability? Something along that, where that demand is, okay, well, sponsors, you can opt in. But, there's also some dilemmas with that, and we're not sure if that's the strategy or the approach that we want to take.
Because one of the things that people got excited about were so many other sponsors were hiring as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just like, whoa, people just like beeline to them.
Yes,
yeah. So.
Absolutely.
And it's one thing to go to a company and say, you talk a great game around diversity, you want to show it, but it's another thing you can go to them and you can say, by the way, this is concrete goodwill, this is people bringing you their resume and saying, please hire me.
And they're they're,
So,
what's the word?
and these are the people who they've self-selected to be, ambitious enough to apply for a grant and go to a conference.
Exactly.
So these are exactly the people
Yeah,
who want to hire.
exactly. They're here to
curious.
learn. Exactly. So, and you vetted them. I mean,
there was a selection process. Absolutely.
I know. I was happy when I got that doggone. I was like, oh, yes, because I wouldn't have been able. I mean, I'm building a business and I'm doing it in community development, which people don't want to pay for.
Yeah.
And so,
we're so glad. We're so glad that everyone who we gave grants to was.
Oh my God! And that's when I started doing. Everybody was just like. Just hearing the stories of who wouldn't have been able to make it had it not been for this opportunity.
And how much they contribute to the community here.
And stuff that shows up. So you're doing these interviews. We had a grantee who wrote a conference guide for us.
Yes.
I saw on the Slack that we set up, people organizing, hey, there's a game night. We're going to have a night where we'll go out to dinner. Like, you provide that structure and people run for it.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic to see that happen.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy for your success and look forward to seeing. So what's the next? Do you have a next yet? A next conference yet?
We're working on that right now.
Okay.
We're planning our next steps right now. So.
Okay. Well,
we're taking a 2-week break first.
Good for you.
And then we'll dive back in.
Good for you. Well, definitely keep us posted. We're very excited. Any final words that you have?
Check out our website, projectalloy.org.
And the Twitter handle is
at Proj Alloy.
Exactly, because I was putting in Project Alloy, and that's somebody totally different.
That was an Intel project that just closed down.
Yeah.
We outlived them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was like, man, I had to go back and change everything. So that's PROJ Alloy, guys. And that's their Twitter handle. So thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
participating. And I'm so happy to end all my Strange Loop interviews with you two.
Ooh, fancy.
Thank you.